This week on Supercars Torque, Thomas Randle takes himself out of the 2026 silly season while I wear a bright yellow t-shirt in memory of Eddie Jordan. The big news this week is it's been announced there will be a top 5 shootout in the Super 2 series in Tasmania. There's going to be a top 10 shootout for the main game as well down there. Now, I love myself top 10 shootout at Bathurst. I think for Sandown as well, or maybe, the endurance races, it's a good thing. Having one at every round, though, it really devalues the whole top 10 thing. They do these statistics and it's like, oh, Will Davison's been in the last 54 top 10 shootouts. That used to be a big thing back in the day when there'd be, 50, 60 cars turning up at Bathurst and there was only 10 getting in the top 10 shootout. Essentially now you've got less than a 1 in 3 chance of making a top 10 shootout with there only being 24 cars and 10 slots for it. So chances are you're going to get in top 10 shootouts quite regularly, especially if you're one of the front guys. It just seems... I do like the idea of having it for Super 2, though. Will give, especially the front runners in the series, a little bit more TV time and, potentially a bit more work there, getting to know them, which I've been doing a lot of work like that around here, trying to get to know the stars of the future. But it'll be interesting to see how it goes with the top 5 shootout, and it'll be over relatively quickly there in Tasmania with it being such a short lap. So I won't criticise it too much before we see it happen. But I don't think we need a top 10 shootout at every round. And then, there wasn't one of the AGP. Well, yeah, okay. We basically didn't have qualifying there. It was been and gone so quickly. Anyway, Supercars have also signed a 3-year extension to race down in Symmons Plains, a $6 million deal. That's a lot of money. So it looks like it's about, over the 3 years, about 4.15 million of that 6 million will go to Supercars, which is to the teams, essentially. To Supercars, and then it gets distributed partly to the teams. So getting in, wait a second, then there's an extra 1.8 million to Symmons Plains for track improvements as well. That's how it became a $6 million deal with the government. But this is where a lot of people they should go to Calder or they should go to Phillip Island instead of the Grand Prix. Well, the thing is, if you've got Tasmania paying, say on average, what's that, about 1.3 million, 1.4 million each year to Supercars for them to turn up. The deal at the Grand Prix, I would imagine, would be very similar figures, if not maybe a bit bigger. Calder Park, the facilities are not there, the track is not there, etc. Supercars are not going to Calder Park. But say Phillip Island, from what I understand, Phillip Island doesn't want to pay for Supercars to be there. They want Supercars to pay to be there. So if you've got, say, an Albert Park that's going to pay you a bucket load of money to turn up, or a Phillip Island, well, the maths don't add up going to Phillip Island from that respect. And also, there was over 400,000 people at the Grand Prix over the weekend. Now, granted, the 100,000 or whatever on the Sunday would have been disappointed because they didn't get to see a Supercars race. But in normal circumstances, you're looking around an average of 100,000 people per day looking at the stickers on the cars, which the teams love that because it gets great exposure for their sponsors over that weekend. Plus, you have a lot of big wig corporates turning up to that round to watch their stickers go around the track in great corporate facilities and things like that, rather than sending them down to, say Phillip Island, which, it's been, colloquially, I can never pronounce that word. Anyway, it's been, the gateway to hypothermia down there. So if you've got a choice of taking people to Albert Park, which other than when it's flooded is quite a nice facility, etc., or say Phillip Island, which is a long way away from everything, you're going to take your corporates to Albert Park. But anyway, enough on that. Looks like Triple8 has found a workaround for homologating this Mustang for next year. So obviously, that's that's a Gen 2 Mustang, but with these Gen 3 cars, well, even with the Gen 2 cars, you couldn't just go and homologate new aero bodywork as you wished. Obviously, things got changed along the way to make parity fair. But without a new model coming along, you can't go and do it. So one of the big things with Triple8 coming along and like, oh, well, they'll fix up the Mustang. Well, they can't change the aero on it, and you can't do too much about the engines. Apparently, there might be a different tune for Bathurst, but that's another topic. But it looks like Triple8 have found a workaround to be able to homologate a new Mustang without a new Mustang actually coming out with this Dark Horse Mustang that is coming out. So they're going to homologate it. Instead of being the S650 Mustang, it'll be the Dark Horse Mustang. I'm not sure on the actual visual changes between. I think the Dark Horse gets a bit of an uprated motor and things like that. But yeah, that's a workaround. So we could see not Dick Johnson Racing, Triple8 actually homologate a new Mustang for next year. Because to me, though, does that not highlight that there is a discrepancy between them if Triple8 has to homologate a new Mustang for next year? Anyway. The actual big news this week, I suppose, is that Thomas Randle has taken himself out of the silly season for 2026, signing a new deal with Tickford. Not sure how long that deal is going to be, but we do know that Chev is on the lookout for some big star names. Is Randle the biggest star name that they'd be looking for? No. Cam Waters 100% would be their target, with guys like Brody and Chaz locked away at the moment. You'd be looking for, and I suppose you Will Brown and Brock Feeney are not going that direction. Chev's already got Craig Lowndes to recommit to them, but they need a current driver for a full-time campaign. I would have thought Cam Waters would have been he'd be the number one logical choice to go after if you have a seat to fill at your homologation team, I'd if I was in that Premier seat at the moment, especially that second one, I'd be a little bit concerned. My prediction on this is that Cam Waters will continue with Tickford. They came out all guns a-blazing in Sydney. The Grand Prix wasn't as good, but are you going to get that same kind of consistency from Premier next year? Well, you're going to probably get that Tickford consistency out of Premier next year. You're not going to, all of a sudden, they're not going to be a Triple8 beater, bang, straight out of the box next year. The other little talking point about Cam Waters this week, he's announced a new Waters whiskey, a side draft edition. Now, hold on to your hats. $333 a bottle. There will only be 111 available. You can go and pre-order it now. I'd really love to try it, but that kind of budget, no way. I could buy one of these and have it forever rather than a drink that will disappear after a few sips. I don't mind myself a reasonable whiskey, but that's a bit steep. Even the normal, the first batch seems to be gone. The second batch is still available. Even that's I think it was $199 a bottle, which, he's probably a little bit rich for my tastes. Now, of course, I am wearing this bright yellow t-shirt in memory of Eddie Jordan. I don't talk about Formula One too much on here. I'm only trying to focus on the Supercars Championship. But it was the first proper Grand Prix I ever watched was Japan in 1994. For those of you who, it was an absolute washout kind of race. Damon Hill drove absolutely magically and took the win. I was in awe of his skill on that day and became a fan of his and caused me a lot of pain over the next few years. But I absolutely loved the look of the Jordan team and the bright coloured cars and all of that. So even though Damon Hill was my driver, I picked the Jordan team as my team to follow. And did we have some up and downs over the few years? So it was about 10 years following them until Eddie sold the team out, which then I drifted away from that team with the new owners. I wasn't quite as impressed with what they were doing. And back in 97 here, we had Damon Hill joining the Jordan team, which was a great day, and I did get to see Damon take his, it was 98, take his first win take Jordan's first win there in Spa. Eddie was definitely character of the field, and I was a big fan of that team, so he will be sorely missed. Yeah. Anyway, just on kind of telecasts with other motorsports, I know a lot of people complain about the Supercars broadcast and some of the commentators and that. We have had this year, IndyCar has had a reset. They were previously on NBC and ABC in a split deal, and they've gone over to Fox this year for their telecast, and everything was supposed to be better on Fox. Anyway, they seem to have added a drone to the coverage, and everything else, it seems to be like, well, they were doing a crap job on it. We'll continue to do a crap job. I've been watching qualifying for the most recent round. I would have thought after the first round, and it was pretty piss poor really, that they would improve for the second round. You know, they would have had some feedback, and this is what we're doing right and wrong and things like that. And it's been just as bad in the second round. You get a totem down the side of the screen that takes up a third of the screen. It's not see-through at all. There's no split times. There's just an overall time. Car crosses the line, and about 5 seconds later, it just, resets into a position. You've got no idea. There's no sectors or anything like that. You don't know if they're green or purple or anything like that. You've got no references. The commentators seem to be in the dark, about the same as what the fans are with it. And I do look, and my initial thoughts were, if you were IndyCar, you should be looking at what categories are doing telecasts really well, and not just trying to match what was done previously and improve it a little bit. I would have thought you'd actually look, and our product, like if we compare the Supercars to F1, like, okay, the F1 product is extremely good, but there's an extremely big budget for it. Like, IndyCar could really have a look at what, Supercars and Supercars TV does with their product, and they could actually learn a hell of a lot of stuff. It really does make you appreciate how good the local product is when you see some of these others. I would also like to say, if you're paying for KO and complaining about it, I'm currently paying the same amount for Stan, just to what, like, KO get Formula One and Supercars. Stan, I only get IndyCar. They're pretty comparable on price. I think it's within $1 or something a month. And the Stan product is absolute garbage compared to the KO product. It's light years ahead. Another thing also with the IndyCar coverage, you'll be in the middle of qualifying in that, and it goes to an ad break and you just get silence. At least it doesn't always go off to ads on, but you just get kind of a still camera on the side of the track, and no audio or anything, just silence. So sometimes I think we should probably appreciate what we have, because it is not that bad. Anyway, not too much to cover off this week. Once again, massive shout out to our channel partner now, Motorfocus. They're going to help me out with some models for my unboxings and things like that. So hopefully a lot more excitement with models coming out to look at. Check them out. They're online. All the details down the side of the screen here. Do all your pre-ordering, things like that on there. $15 postage Australia-wide, which is really, really good value. Free members club to join, and you get discounts on the models as well if you join the members club. So definitely go and check them out. Have you been watching the IndyCar coverage? What do you think of the new Fox deal. And yeah, were you hoping for some more improvements like I was? And yeah, what do you reckon? Who else does coverage really well on kind of a global scale? Yeah, because I think Supercars does a really, really good job considering the size of the population here and really how big our series is compared to some of the others in the world. But anyway, until next time, I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.